REMAX CEO Nick Bailey is out. There are changes happening in REMAX as we speak. And changes like this, they're not too earth-shattering. That's not super shocking. This does happen from time to time. Here in the past 2 years or so, we've seen changes from EXP Realty, is a major brokerage that has seen the founder, Glenn Sanford, become the CEO, then become chairman, then come back to CEO. So we've seen that changes. That type of change. We've seen very much similar pattern with Gary Keller. He's not the CEO, then he becomes the CEO again, and that happens. So that in and of itself is not too earth-shattering. Now, this is infrequent. I will say that this is not something you see every single day, nor do you want it from a major real estate brokerage. But let's see the past performance. I think that would be the highest and best use of our time today of how REMAX has been performing. So here, first, let's read the news. We have this article courtesy of Inman. REMAX president and CEO Nick Bailey has been replaced as head of the franchisor. The company announced while unveiling its revenue fell for a sixth consecutive quarter on Thursday. That might have something to do with it, right? But we also need to put this into context. This is not too, is dissimilar a word? Let me know in the chat. Is dissimilar a word? This is not too different. We'll use that verbiage instead. Too different from a lot of brick and mortar locations, a lot of brick and mortar brokerages, whether this is, you have Anywhere, you have all these other major brokerages that are publicly traded as well. They have similar types of results. Why? Well, because higher interest rates caused a big I guess downward pressure on the number of transactions that were being had, meaning less revenue to be had altogether. So seeing revenue, so this affects everybody, right? So it's not just this independent brokerage and every brokerage out there. So as far as I'm aware, I believe EXP and possibly Real that were publicly traded are the only ones that actually turned a net profit last year or a quarter of last year. So that's the profit. I understand that that's not revenue. So it's tough out there. So I can't really say, hey, it's this CEO Nick Bailey did a terrible job. There is a way to know that, but this is not something that I would attribute these results. It's not something that I would attribute solely to him. I think that this more of the industry as a whole is struggling right now. Bailey had served as president for nearly 3 years, 2 of which he was also the CEO of one of the nation's largest real estate franchisors. He had multiple positions at REMAX World Holdings earlier in his career. So who is going to take the helm now? We have REMAX announced Amy Lessinger will succeed Bailey as president and will report directly to REMAX Holdings CEO Eric Carlson. All right, the executive change came on the same day REMAX announced its revenue fell 5.2% on the fourth quarter compared to the same time last year. REMAX earned $76 million in the quarter and reported a net loss of $69 million for the year. So this is what I was saying earlier. It's very challenging to turn a profit in this economy. Only a few brokerages have been able to do it. EXP was one of them that I know for a fact has been posting a net positive here as of recent time. All right, so let's see how the stock has been performing. The rest is it's fine, but we're gonna dig into some actual numbers here. So we have a 5-year chart for REMAX. We see that back in 2019 in April, the high at that time was $43. So you see a huge drop, in that same almost the same 30 days, huge drop, and then even more heavier drops. What happened here in 2020, as we know, that was a COVID year. Then we had it going back up when the market was absolutely just firing on all cylinders. We had a huge rebound in the stock market, but ever since 2021, March 2021, so what's that? Almost 3 years ago, it has just consistently gone down and down and down and down. And you see a lot of trade volume here. What happened here? What happened in September 2023? there's a significant amount of trade. So I should have done a little bit more research on what this I didn't notice it until just now. You see a lot of pressure to where it's almost at its all-time low. That's interesting. This is at its all-time low, at least for the past 5 years. If we go to max, okay, it is all-time low. All right, so REMAX agents, let me know in the chat what's going on here. We're going to dig in a little bit deeper into the actual into the results so far. So I'm not going to get too much into the figures, because when you start talking about millions, when you start talking about all that stuff, it's some such numbers are just so huge that you can't really fathom, at least for me. So we're not going to really even worry too much about this, although obviously it's important, just seeing the percentage rise or decrease in this case. But I think what's going to be more instrumental here is the individuals that are driving the business, us real estate agents. That's who drives the business. It's not the executive team or anything like that. Yeah, they strategically position the company and the cast division and all that fun stuff. But as far as who generates the money, well, it's real estate agents. So the more real estate agents that you have, the better equipped that they are, the more effective that they are at their profession, well, the more money that you're going to make. So let's see how many bodies they have right now. So total agent count increased 0.6% to 144,000 agents. It's a massive organization. I believe REMAX is number 2. The largest real estate brokerage on the face of the planet at the moment is Keller Williams. So they are not too far off. I think Keller Williams has something around 160, if I'm not mistaken, 160,000. But this is something I wanted to highlight. U.S. and Canada combined agent count decreased 4.2% to 80,000. And then they have a Motto Mortgage, so their lender side. So if their agent count increased by 0.6% and their U.S. and Canada combined agent decreased by 4.6%, this lets me, I don't do public math, but this lets me know that obviously the international market is what's carrying the growth, at least from the agent side. I don't necessarily know how much of it is, how much of the international business is being factored in here. But from a U.S. and Canada combined count, their agent count decreased 4.2% to 80,000 agents, which is still a huge number. But I would be interesting to see operating statistics, okay, of January 21. Total agent count increased 204, and then U.S. Okay, so I guess the first 30 days, is this what this is saying? In the first 30 days, this is what they have. All right, so U.S., you see the number. The 2023 number, let's see, can you see that? Yeah, down 6% from a U.S. standpoint, slightly up in Canada. Outside of the United States, yeah, outside of the United States, 7.2% growth. So internationally, the REMAX balloon has a lot of cachet, and yes, in the U.S. and Canada as well, but it's not as important as it once was, at least in my opinion. But this is interesting. I want to hear from you, agents that are a part of REMAX. How long have you been with REMAX? Did you just join REMAX? Have you left REMAX? What has been your experience? Do you think this is the right move? Was this something that absolutely needed to happen in order to right the ship? Again, you saw the stock price. Oh, I've been in the way, haven't I? Let me get out of the way. Here we go. You saw the stock price down here. So I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on that situation. But either way, hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you next week.